Hey everybody, this is Janie and I'm here to tell you about the Community Health Project Ecological Model essay. This will be the second essay out of three that you're going to write about the topic you picked in week three. So I think we have diverticulitis, HIV, depression, a few other topics you guys have picked as your topic for this course. In the last paper, you just told me what the topic is and what you thought about it based on your own experience. In this paper, you're going to also use research, research from the web or from articles that you find to support your ideas. And the whole focus of this ecological model essay is to identify what leads to this problem. Where does it come from? What are the causes and risk factors that lead to this problem in the first place? As you know, in public health, we're always looking at prevention, so we have to understand where does the problem start. Now I'm going to go through more of the details about the assignment. As you do your research, I'll just say, you will probably get ideas around how to fix the problem. What are the programs? What are the solutions? What are the policies? How can we stop it? How can we treat people with it? Save all that. You might want to take some notes, start a little word file of what you find, or just write some notes on paper. You'll come back to that for your last essay, because we kind of go from the problem to the solution. This first paper is just all about the roots of the problem, where it comes from, the risk factors associated with it. The second paper, later this semester, you'll write about solutions and programs. All right, so this is the CHP, Community Health Project Ecological Model essay for 100 points. Throughout this course, whenever we discuss a health problem, we always look at the causes and risk factors behind the health issue. For prevention to work, public health workers first need to understand where the health problem begins. In this paper, you'll use the ecological model, which we saw in week 2, in the book in week 2. We'll use the ecological model to discuss causes and risk factors, what makes this health issue more likely to happen. Remember, a risk factor is something that's associated with a greater chance of getting a disease or an injury or other health condition. It may be an inborn characteristic, like being male, female. It might be something in the environment. It could be a health behavior, anything like that. It may or may not actually cause the problem, but we know it's associated with it. A cause of a problem, of a disease, is harder to demonstrate, especially for any health condition that develops over a long time. Sometimes we can't find a single cause for a disease. Depending on the health issue you pick, you may only find risk factors, and that's fine. For example, cancer, that's a disease that doesn't have just one cause. Whereas if you're looking at HIV/AIDS, yes, we know HIV causes AIDS. So sometimes there's a clear cause, sometimes there isn't. Please use at least 3 references or sources of information for this project. Those are published things, websites, articles, books. You can use your own experience or what somebody tells you, but that doesn't count as one of the 3. I want you to use 3 published sources. To get started, make a list of terms you can search on, just like you did back in week 3 when we were looking at web searches. Make a list of terms you can do a search on. Find your research sources, read through the material, and then start to make a list of the risk factors and causes, and organize that list at the 4 levels of the ecological model. What are the 4 levels again? Individual, relationship, community, society. After you compile your list, think and write about how the factors at one level are affected by or relate to the factors at another level. That's the whole idea of the model being ecological. It's like a little world, a life system, where the water affects the plants affect the animals, the sunshine affects the water, everything affects each other. So that's what you're going to do when you look at the ecological model list that you have. You've got 4 categories, 4 lists, but how do they affect each other? Which factors do you think have the greatest impact? Are they some more important than others? And how might a change at one level have ripple effects on the other factors, other levels? So this is all just different questions to get you thinking ecologically about the problem. writing the assignment. So you're going to make your list, you're going to do your research, you're going to read some things, and this is what you're going to turn in. You're going to write it up. You're going to submit a one-page list of risk factors or causes that are important to your health issue, organized according to the 4 levels of the ecological model. Follow this list with a brief essay, 2 to 3 pages, discussing 2 main things. Which factors do you think are most important at each level of the ecological model? So that might be 1 or 2 paragraphs. And how are the factors related ecologically across the different levels of the model? That again might be 1 or 2 paragraphs. Give me an example. Use specific evidence from the articles or websites you read to back up your ideas. For example, you can use a quote, you can use a statistic, you can state an idea you got from one of the things you read and then put in parentheses, this is who said that first. Use specific evidence. I'm going to look for that. Like in any essay, it's good to include a brief introduction or conclusion and try to pay attention to the flow of the essay as a whole. Now I'll tell you, I usually write my introduction and my conclusion after I've written the first, they're the last thing I write. First I see, what did I say? What did I have to say about what's important and how the factors are related? And then I decide what I'll say as my introduction and my conclusion. You can figure out how you do it best for yourself. Review the CHP Ecological Model essay grading rubric carefully before you submit your paper to make sure you've responded to all aspects of the assignment. And I'll make sure that that's linked there. It's posted as a rubric, a grid to show you what I'm looking for. This paper, which includes the list plus the essay, it says diagram, but I'll cross that out, which includes the list plus the essay discussing the list, should be double-spaced and typed in a readable font, like 12-point Times New Roman. Please list your sources, your references at the end of your paper. The page of references does not count towards the 2 to 3 pages for the essay. If you can, please cite them in the format that the American Psychological Association uses, the APA format, and there's a guide for that. If you can't, if you're like, what am I talking about? Don't worry about it. Just tell me where you got your stuff, even if you don't tell me completely. You're going to turn in the assignment in week 7. Until we get to week 7, you won't see where it is you turn it in. But it's going to take a little while to write it, so you can start it now. You'll write it in Word or WordPad, whatever program you use for writing papers. You can turn it in all as one document, or you can make the list of risk factors and the essay 2 different files. That's up to you. So this is due at 11:55 Monday, Pacific time, California time, at the close of week 7. And I said in my assignment here that I would give you an example of using evidence, but I didn't do that. Maybe I'll add that next week. I don't want to overwhelm you with everything right at once. All right, have a good time with this project. I hope that it's helpful and interesting to you. And that's the bell. It's time for me to go. Have a great day.